Leicester have a new manager, and
Hey,
it's not just a new manager; it's the one and only Ruud van Nistelrooy, who
Ruud van Nistelrooy.
who had won 2 games out of his interim spell with Manchester United against
It's
Leicester.
amazing.
So
It's
Leicester
amazing.
clearly turned
Yeah.
around and were like, "This guy clearly knows how to win in Leicester. We should just get him."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. He's got that spirit in him. He managed Man United for 4 games, and 2 of them were against Leicester, and he beat us twice. But as a player, I remember when he scored a hat trick at the King Power Stadium, when it was formerly known as the Walker Stadium back in the day.
Yeah.
So if you can't beat them, hire them.
yeah, 100%.
So that's what we've got with Ruud van Nistelrooy. Yeah, look, it wasn't the. I mean, I remember when we went through like who's going to be in there. And Ruud van Nistelrooy was on that list, but we both kind of went.
Can we just address that, right? So I literally put out the clip of us to like bigging up Potter, and almost the next morning, it's like Potter has been ruled out, and we're like, fuck, all of that editing and putting it together, and not too much of a sneak behind the curtain, but it's like trying to put together a clip that's condensed and try to find the most salient bits of each of that episode to put together. And it's like, as soon as we manage to get something out there, it's immediately like, oh, it's not them, and it's all of a sudden we look like idiots. So how much we were backing Graham
straight
Potter
away.
But it's so frustrating.
I think we just kind of backed Potter because we thought it was the most safest choice.
Yeah,
because we thought like, well, it makes sense. Just pick Potter, get him in there.
Yeah,
and that was it. But because I think we looked at Ruud van Nistelrooy, and I think that, like a lot of people, kind of thought, well, he's not really got a lot of experience. Like, he had 1 season at PSV Eindhoven.
He won the Dutch
Cup. He had a few games at Man United.
He did win the Dutch Cup. So I mean, fair
play
he
did win them. He won them a cup. He won them a trophy, and he they got second, which is fine.
It's good, very good.
Which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, I think Leicester, we can't really have that entitlement where we're like, oh, they're not experienced enough for us. No, we need a manager who maybe that little bit of inexperience, or maybe that little bit of youth is what we need. That's what we need in our club right now.
I was thinking it's quite refreshing to see us go after the sort of like young up and coming person rather than the tried and tested one. It's kind of like, it reminds me of the Burnley going after Vincent Kompany thing, where it's like it's a bit left field, but I'm on board with this. I think if you really adapt to his new and fresh ideas, maybe we can really build something. I like how he started. So let me just go through his press conference. Because obviously he had his press conference today, his first press conference, and said a few things which I think are quite interesting. So first of all, he started off by saying, "I am Ruud," to which the reporter said, "Well, actually, you seem like quite a polite guy," and he was like, and he was like, "No, I am Ruud," and they were like, "No, but you don't seem that bad." And he goes, "No, I am Ruud." And it was a whole thing. Anyway, we ended up with
good way to get your press conference started. Just repeat your name 3 times.
It kind of reminded me of like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. He just goes, "I am Ruud."
I am Groot.
I am Ruud. But yeah, he came up with something quite interesting. He said, like, in terms of his footballing philosophy. So obviously this is a hot topic, I'd say, because you got managers like Vincent Kompany, like Russell Martin, who are quite headstrong on the way they want their teams to be playing, regardless of like the pragmatism of it all. And what he's basically come out and said, he said, "I'm thinking of one game before any game that I prepare, one thing before any game, and that's winning. I'm not the romantic type of manager that puts style in front of results. I love style. Yeah. I love having the ball. I love creating lots of opportunities. I love pressing a team high because you have more of the ball. I love to create a lot of chances for our attackers, but we're facing opponents here and we're not the dominant side in this league." And that already tells me he's enough of a pragmatist to be able to come in and go like, all right, I know what I'm working with. These guys are still a championship sort of level team. So let's not go crazy and be like, yeah, we're going to play this like amazing, expansive football that, probably will have gotten us relegated and everybody would have said the same things about us that they said about Burnley last season. I like that he's come in with the pragmatism from the beginning and said, like, we are the underdogs. We are going to be the underdogs in 90% of the games that we play this season. So prepare for underdog football. But I'm glad the manager has kind of been upfront about that.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it. He's realistic about the job he's got in front of him.
It's a hard
knows
job.
what he's dealing with.
It feels like an impossible job.
But, I mean, the Man United interim job he had, let's face it, the games he had as a Man United interim, it was like playing on cheat mode, essentially. With the games that they had, he didn't have much of a challenge. He had quality players to work with. But he knew what he was working with there. So with Leicester, he knows again, okay, it's a bit of a drop down. So it's, and these players, they need something. That's why we've always moaned every week, there's no fight in this team. There's just no fight. And we blamed it on like Cooper's philosophy. I mean, I didn't like the fact that Cooper was manager of Leicester City anyway. When he became Leicester City manager, I didn't like the idea of that. I mean, you can say that, remember saying that in hindsight. No, I said it back then. I didn't like it that he was. But we always we thought, look, he's manager of our team, let's get behind this guy. With Ruud, I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm a bit like, I'm happy because it shows that Leicester like, no, let's get this young guy in there. He's a new up and coming manager. He's a former footballing legend. Let's see what he can do at managerial level. The only fear I do have is because we've been so bad. Yeah, maybe we'll just continue that form. But and then it's like it might make Ruud look bad, but it might be he's just got a load of shit in front of him.
That's what I'm worried about for his sake. Is you've got a team that haven't been good so far this season, and we all know why. Is because a lot of in terms of like the majority of the squad, the quality is still sort of championship level, right? And for somebody to come in halfway through the season, more or less, and completely change course and try to steer us to safety, I think if he manages to, it's like, well fucking done. Like, that's a great job, because it's not his team. It's not a team that he has had an entire summer to be able to go in and rebuild and like really implement his style of play and his philosophies and his his formation and his tactics. So fair play to him. Like, he's coming in and he's not shy of a challenge, and I think that's quite an admirable thing to do. It's different to, like, for example, the Ruben Amorim situation at Man United. Like, he's come in, but
completely different.
He's got like he's got a much higher caliber of players to play with. So it's more about like working out the puzzle, and he knows, Amorim probably knows that, like, if you can somewhat work out how to get these players to gel, then Man United will shoot up the league. Leicester is a very different case. And
you might get the players to gel, but their performances might not be good.
Yeah, it might not be enough is the thing. It's like, quality-wise, we just might not have enough altogether. And that was obviously stunted at the beginning of the season when we didn't really make enough signings, and that's because obviously the PSR issues. But it's like one thing has led to another. We're now in this situation. So fair play to Van Nistelrooy. He's come in. Hopefully he can make the difference. But I also think it's like, I can't also judge him too much if things don't work out.
What my hopes for Ruud is that he obviously steadies the ship, but he makes some signings in January.
Yeah.
Keeps us afloat to stay in this league, and then come summer, he just bombs through that transfer market and starts getting some decent players into the squad.
Yeah.
That's my hope. Whether it will happen, we'll have to see. It can happen.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm hoping to see. And I like the idea that he said, like, look, I don't give a shit. I just want to get results. Yeah, good. He doesn't care about scrappy football. Welcome to Leicester. You're not going to get style over here. So that's what I'm liking. That he knows we just need to get results, and that's what it is. We need to just get results. And look, we're in December now, so we're not far from the January transfer. So we can just see out these results. We've got a tough game against West Ham coming up. Which game does Ruud finally take over?
It's West Ham. It's tomorrow, yeah.
It's a West Ham one, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we get to have an idea what we're going to see. Now, I mean, I don't think we can be too hard on him what the result is.
After 2 days.
It's like, he's not really he's not really been there long enough to, like, settle in. So whatever the result is, I mean, ideally, Leicester just have this whole spirit about them. They come out and they just batter West Ham. Whether that's going to happen, I don't know. But it's a home game, and I'm just hoping for the best. Really,
you'd hope that after West Ham, I was really rooting Arsenal on Saturday because I was like, the worse West Ham's losses, the more fragile they'll feel coming to the King Power.
And you think they say they're going to feel delicate now?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like any little thing that might work in our favor. It's that typical football fan thing. Is that you try to delude yourself into thinking there's like a mental edge to it all. That you want to give yourself any glimmer of hope that something might come out of this for us. So you never know. Obviously, we can do like a brief catch up after the West Ham game and talk about it. But I think going into the game tomorrow, I'm excited to see if there is a reaction from these guys, if there is a bit of fight. Obviously, we didn't see that against Brentford, but usually you see a little bit of a new manager bounce. So I'm hoping that they all have like a sense of wanting to prove a point to Ruud and be like, hey, I want to take part, especially the players who weren't getting a look in under Cooper. You'd hope that they're the ones who would come out the strongest for Ruud because, it's a blank slate, it's clean slate, so they can come out and really prove their worth all over again. Luke Thomas, seeing him on Saturday, he hasn't had a look in under two managers now, so it'll be interesting to see. This guy was in the under-21 England squad when they won the fucking Euros. Like, he's clearly a good player. You know what I mean? This idea that we should just kind of go, he's all right. He's clearly quite a decent player. And he's done a decent job for us before in the Premier League. It's good. I think Christensen is still a very good player. So, there's that good level of competition at left back. But it's good to see people like Thomas get a look in. It's good to see Cody come back. And, he's somebody with Premier League experience, somebody who's fought off multiple relegations. He was part of that Nuno's Wolves team, and he was a very solid defender for that team. Yeah, that was a few years ago, but he's still, at centre-back, you kind of are relying more on experience rather than your physical attributes. I mean, look at Johnny Evans at Man United. He's still been one of their best centre-backs. But yeah, there is a lot going forward here that I think there's more than enough time in the season that I think Ruud has a chance to really turn this around. And if you look at, when typically a team would have made this kind of change, it would have been sort of latter half of the season. I think we have positioned ourselves in a way that, he can actually make a bit more of a difference than, like, say, if he came in like February. So I'm looking forward.
It was good timing by Top to make this change now.
Yeah,
it was good timing because we don't want to leave this too late.
No.
And we've all seen it happen where they like it comes to about like March time and chairman's like, oh, this isn't working. Let's sack the manager, bring a new one in, and it's like, this guy's got no time to save this.
I mean, the perfect example is the Brendan season where he got relegated. We waited way too long to pull the trigger on getting rid of him. And Dean Smith came in with, I think, 6-7 games. And we just wasn't enough time. And he wasn't going to really change course that season anyway. I feel like he probably would have got relegated with like 10 games to go anyway. We were that bad. But I think the problem that we had in not sacking Rodgers sooner has been a bit of a lesson to the hierarchy that nobody can be that untouchable. Like, when things have really turned, it sometimes means that they've turned, and you gotta like make a change and pull the trigger.